Well, a very good afternoon to you on this 16th day of national lockdown. It is also Holy Saturday. I'm Mark Long, Rector of St Andrews in Newlands, Cape Town. By tradition, on Holy Saturday, we do not hold a Eucharist, and therefore there haven't been any Eucharistic readings to reflect on today. However, there are the morning and evening prayer readings. In morning prayer over the last 10 or so days, we've been reading through a selection of readings from Lamentations in the Old Testament. And it strikes me that lamenting is a really important aspect of our prayer lives and our relationships with God. There are those many things that burden us. And lamentation is a place in which we can bring those burdens before God. We can express our concerns. We can express our unhappiness with what is happening in and around our lives. We bring to God not only those things which may be deeply personal for us in that area, but also our concerns for our community, the variety of communities that we interact with normally, and the society that we're part of. In the context of Cape Town, very aware at the moment that there's ongoing concern about the housing of refugees, and also concern about the manner in which the homeless are being, the city is attempting to house them at the moment. There may be other concerns, and many of them probably linked in with just being tied down to our homes. But it's important that we have the courage to share these burdens with God, to allow our times of prayer to reflect the concerns that we have, and to trust that God will hold that, and that there's freedom to express that. I remember early on in my ministry, I was struggling with some particular issue, and my spiritual director suggested that I go into the chapel and sit before the cross and just express how I was feeling about all of this, and encouraged me to do it verbally and if necessary to shout at God. I remember sitting there quite nervously, not quite sure how God would respond if I did that. And I must admit I didn't quite have the courage to verbalize and shout, but I did sit there and gave God a good sense of my anger and my disappointment in both whatever the situation was that I was dealing with, and also with my sense that he was not interacting and responding sufficiently in that space. I remember being quite amazed that lightning didn't strike at that particular point, and discovered a wonderfully freeing sense that actually God does know me, God does know my concerns, and that I have the freedom in my relationship with God to share those concerns. And the book of Lamentations really does back that up, and says, let us express to God everything that we carry, and know that in it God will hear us and will respond. And so whether it is more personal and private concerns and angers, be it real concern about what's happening in our wider society, and certainly in Cape Town with the ongoing concern about the refugees and the manner in which city and province and government is dealing with that, as well as issues around the manner in which the homeless are being housed. All of these things sit there and they hold us. And there's something very freeing about just having the courage to say to God, here it is. And discovering in that we become recentered with the peace of God. And an awareness that this relationship with God, this conversation with God, it's a real conversation, and one in which we are able to find new hope and new life. And so let us lament on this Holy Saturday.